sure you're ready for this?
I'll do my best.
Your best? Losers always whine about their best. Winners go home and the prom queen.
Welcome to the best soccer show. The best soccer show in the whole world.
Here we go, best soccer show, North American Soccer Network, NASN.TV. Jason Davis and Jared DuBois with you on a Sunday.
On a lazy Sunday?
No, but that actually reminds me. That's what we were just talking about. My new sitcom jam. Only sitcom I'm really into right now. And I got some heat from you and Trevor for not respecting Parks and Rec enough.
Oh, yeah.
Brooklyn Nine-Nine is pretty damn funny.
It's very funny. It is extremely funny. I really enjoyed the Andre Brower character. I don't know why. It's just the right guy to have on that show for some reason.
The only thing that they could let slip and get too far away is if they have Joe Latrulio's character like just go a little too far.
I think that's when it's best, when he is that so pathetic. When he is that pathetic. Listen, I'm an old State fan. I mean, I love Joe Latrulio. I'll watch him be awkward anywhere. I think that's a great member of that cast.
Yeah, no, but you mentioned the State. I think we've had this conversation. There's a large percentage of our audience has no clue about the State. Zero clue.
Then they need to do some homework. The crazy thing about the State is it took forever just like Freaks and Geeks. It's one of those shows that was really good at this time frame. It took forever to come out on DVD, and you're lucky if you can even find the State at all anywhere because they used so much. Because it was an MTV show, they used so much music licensing that now no one can afford to produce it on DVD. And same thing with Freaks and Geeks. Freaks and Geeks had NBC behind it at the beginning. It played Led Zeppelin. They had Pink Floyd, all sorts of stuff that costs out the bunghole now, like to put out on DVD. So it's crazy that a lot of these really good shows are hard to find.
The what hole? That's
bunghole.
And that's such an MTV era, like late 90s MTV era word because
Beavis and Butthead?
Some Butthead every time. TP for my bunghole, yeah.
Speaking of 90s, though, no, hold on. I can't let you go without this. Speaking of 90s, people don't know. Jason Davis put together the greatest 1990s R&B playlist on Spotify I've ever seen. It was pretty amazing, Jason.
Well, let me tell you what happened, okay? So our boy Maxi Rodriguez, Football Intellect on Twitter. If you're not following him, go follow Maxi. He's a great guy. He's from LA. He said something on Twitter about how he rocked some New Jack Swing in his office, and like all the 40-somethings were going nuts over this music. And at first I was offended because I'm not 40. And then he said, and then one of our other football Twitter friends, this guy Steve Welsh, who is an artist in England, does football art. He's like, I would love where's this playlist? Where's this New Jack Swing playlist? And Maxie was like, I want Jason to put one together. So I went in Spotify to put one together. It's like 70 songs at this point.
It's damn amazing. And you know what? And I'm almost convinced, okay, you didn't do any like track, like you didn't put them in any particular order, right? You didn't like try to make it play like an old school like mixtape where this has to move into this song or anything like that, right?
You can't really do that on Spotify.
Okay. But this is what makes it even better. That means the very first thing you thought of when you went to make this was Keith Sweat. Because that is the very first thing on your playlist.
Yeah, probably. Why wouldn't
I love that?
No, well, I did say at one point that you could make that playlist just Teddy Riley songs, and that's a lot of songs because he was Guy and he was Blackstreet, and Teddy Riley did a million things. He did "Remember the Time" by Michael Jackson. That's Teddy Riley's song.
Remember the time. Which I think is on there.
Yes, which is the only Michael Jackson song on this playlist. And then Teddy Riley and I'll Be Sure. You could just do those two guys, and it would still be an amazing playlist. But it's
Art LeBeau all over the place.
Yeah, there you go. All right, so we're here to not just talk about Brooklyn Nine-Nine and New Jack Swing. We're here to talk about soccer as well. And this is a jam-packed show. It's not just about MLS today because while there's a host of action to discuss, we got some things from the week that we haven't gotten to yet that definitely need our attention, Jared. I'm going to go a topic here, number one, right off the top. Julian Green declares for the United States of America. Jared, how many How many celebratory high fives did you give out when you heard this news during the week?
I heard it. I saw it like a couple hours after it happened. Being at work, I didn't see it for a while, and by the time I caught on to it, it's kind of died down. But doing some research, it looks like it was a pretty popular topic of conversation when it first came out.
People are excited. Now, look, here's the reasons people are excited. Number one, he's a Bayern Munich youth product who has something like 14 goals in 19 games in their reserve team. Now, their reserve team plays in the 4th division of German soccer, so just keep that in mind. But he's highly touted by Pep Guardiola, highly touted by Jurgen Klinsmann, highly touted by many people who have seen him, although that's a fairly small group of people we have dealt with because most Americans you can't find it. You can watch a YouTube video of him scoring a goal. That's about it.
Yeah.
But he represents something. I get it. And he is talented. There's no doubt about that. I think we should maybe slow our roll a little bit on getting excited for this right now while we've got a World Cup coming. But
it's kind of like for somehow a D2 college got its hands on a blue chip a high school recruit. That's kind of what it's like right now.
Sure. Yes. I think that's a fair analogy to make. That this is like, this is, well, maybe not D2. This is something like,
I think the US is D2.
What? The
US is probably D2.
No, come on. No, come on. I think that this is like, I see. Let me find a school. Right here in my backyard, school actually made a Final Four run a couple years back. George Mason University, not a big school, community college here in DC. If they got Andrew Wiggins, the kid that went to Kansas, the Canadian kid that went to Kansas, that is pretty much everybody's number one pick in the NBA draft when he comes out after his freshman year, that would be like this, sort of.
It's a huge amount of risk potential. It's a lot of what American fans love. It's a lot of this is the guy. Every American fan wants to pin their hopes on one youth player. It's what we've been waiting to do forever, and what we've done over and over again and not been able to come through on. This is the next version of it. Now, granted, I don't think anyone thinks that Bob Bradley was going to seal this deal the way Jurgen Klinsmann did. It's a feather in the cap of Jurgen Klinsmann, 100%. Yes.
If you buy that part of Jurgen Klinsmann's job is to unearth these talents who are American and whatever else, and get them to play for the United States of America, then he's doing his job. I believe that's part of his job.
And I think that line is pretty much down the middle. Everyone's okay with that. Where it gets fuzzy and where you start finding people on either sides of a fence is the fact it takes most likely promising him a World Cup berth to get him to basically follow a one-time switch.
I have lodged this. I have lodged my. It's not an issue. It's a future concern. I've lodged it on Soccer Morning. I'll lodge it here just to get it out of the way. We don't have to talk about it. I do think there's something to be said for wanting kids in our national team who can make this difference, raised in soccer here rather than raised in soccer in Germany. But I'm happy to have Julian Green on board if he can make this team better. The question of whether or not he was guaranteed a World Cup spot. He says no. Klinsmann says no. Everybody involved says no, but he was at least given the opportunity to compete for one, which is fair, I suppose.
To borrow the analogy again of blue chip high school recruits, basically the U.S. offered the best hose. When the guy went to the recruiting trip for the U.S., Jurgen Klinsmann put the best strippers and hoes out there, and this guy is biting on it. There has to be something that's greasing this wheel. I'm sorry, there's no reason for Julian Green to sign with to file a switch now.
Wait. Okay. Before you get to that point, you bring up this, you're going to keep going with this analogy, and I'm all down for it. You know, when those kids make those recruiting trips, there's always an upperclassman who is responsible for them. Who is the upperclassman responsible?
Andy Herzog.
No, I'm talking about, it's got to be a team. I got to be a play.
If there was a guy like that, I'm going to go with.
See, I'm thinking single guy. I think it's got to be a single guy, right?
Yeah, I don't know. There's no big swinging single dude on the U.S. national team right now, is there? Most of these guys are like, Landon Donovan's single right now.
Josie.
Yeah, he definitely looks like he has other things more important than football right now.
Well, so. Hey, hold on. Let's put that aside. I think Josie Outdoor is a professional. I think he goes out and does his job. I think he's in a tough spot. Blah blah blah.
Okay, but to go back to this issue,
Josie Outdoor is uniquely placed to be the guy who takes care of Julian Green in that regard.
I think my man knows his way around a Vegas nightclub if he wanted to.
I think my man knows how to. Yeah, I think he knows how to get things popping.
And that's great. He did me for the longest time. I want players that are going to be in the club. I like that kind of thing.
It's his life. He can go do what he wants as long as he's not. As long as he's not going to get himself in trouble. Hey, man, live your life, do your thing.
To go back to the Julian Green thing. Here's why I think that's kind of BS about, we didn't promise him a World Cup spot. There's absolutely no reason for him to file the switch now. He has plenty of time to feel out whether or not he becomes established at Bayern Munich. And there's no reason he wouldn't wait another 3 to 4 years and make the decision, will Germany come for me? And right now, I think someone's putting the pressure on him, Jurgen Klinsmann, to say, listen, if you do it now, you have a guaranteed berth in the World Cup.
And I'll say this again. The irony of all of this, the irony of Jurgen Klinsmann recruiting Julian Green out from under Germany, if he had a chance, and he at least was going to, he could have played himself into a chance. There's some young guys ahead of him in the German setup, but you never know.
Yeah, 3 years, though.
The irony is that Jurgen Klinsmann has been banging the drum for American players to go to Europe and get into that immersive atmosphere and challenge themselves and be, confidence and belief and blah, blah, blah. And he basically gets a kid to trade the tougher go for the easier go, because working your way into the U.S. national team and getting to a World Cup on that team is easier for the United States of America than it is for Germany.
Yeah,
right?
But it's a lot less sexy. And for an 18-year-old to make the non-sexy pick surprises me.
Okay.
Right? But at the same time, I also understand that a young player is impressionable and probably thinks he's good enough. Find me an 18-year-old striker in a big team that doesn't think they can make the difference at a top level. I'm sure every 18-year-old thinks that they're one start away from being a breakout star.
True,
so Jurgen Klinsmann may be giving him that opportunity.
I think this is interesting because I think that it's not just Jurgen Klinsmann, Julian Green, and Germany and everything. It's sort of because there is now this contingent in the team, and Julian Green was in a photo during Frankfurt training before that game in Cyprus with all of the German Americans who were in that group, and now it's 5 or 6 guys, right? So it's like it's almost. And I'm not saying Julian Green is going to be separated from the rest of the team, and I'm not going to get into cliques or anything else. I'm just saying that if he needs someone to identify with, if he needs someone to talk to about all of this, there are 5 guys he can turn to. That's got to mean something. That's got to be a big deal.
Who's the big brother? Who's the big brother of that group?
I think Jermaine Jones is everybody's big brother.
You think so? I think so.
He's everybody's big brother. And
do you think Julian Green looks up to Jermaine Jones?
Yeah, sure, absolutely. Why not?
Okay.
Yeah, I don't think we can sit here in judgment of Jermaine Jones' style, but the guy he went out there and was a warrior for Schalke for a very long time. So I think absolutely he looks up to him.
I'll say this as well. If you're Julian Green, if you're looking at the USA's strike options, you got a chance.
Well, okay, look, the likelihood is that he's more it's more likely he'll play wide than he plays striker, okay? So when we look at the striker pool, we put Josie and Aaron Johansson in that group, and then we start to scratch our heads a little bit. But if you consider the fact that at least wide left, unless you're playing Fabian Johnson there, and we all want him at left back, and unless you're playing Landon Donovan there, and that's possible, but who knows, he's got a chance to break into that little group because who else are you bringing?
Well, not as a starter. Not as a starter.
No. I'm not saying
but I'll say this. Based on your definition of how you see him and the area of the field he may play, if he does have a spot, if he has a spot in the World Cup, is Eddie Johnson the odd man out? Because that's the same thing you bring Eddie Johnson for.
Possibly. I mean, look, I have to do my roster again.
Well, Eddie Johnson's not doing much in MLS either to make you feel like you should take it.
We're going to get to some of that.
Eddie, what have you done for me lately?
I think that, I was advocating for Brek Shea to go as a game changer. Mm-hmm. And here's my problem. I know what Brek Shea can do for the U.S. men's national team when he steps on the field. It's not always great. Sometimes he changes games, okay? Sometimes he does. That's at least a given, right? He's obviously having a tough go. He made the bench today for Stoke. That's something, I guess. Julian Green may be better at changing a game than Brek Shea. I don't know. I haven't seen enough of the kid. But I could see in Klinsmann's head bringing Julian Green instead of Brek Shea to be that game-changing player out wide. Now, Green's not going to be the same, feet on the chalk kind of guy that Shea might be, or go run to the end line kind of guy, but he could be a difference maker.
I think every national team coach, when it comes to a World Cup squad, everyone is allowed that one selfish, for me, pick. And if this is his one selfish for me pick, then hey, I'm cool with it. But you can't also bring Breck Shea. You can't also bring some of these other guys that are just fringe. Maybe let's see what's gonna happen type guys. And I really feel that maybe even Terrence Boyd fits into that category too. Probably. Terrence Boyd would be kind of a luxury player if you were to take him right now.
Remember, you've got 20 outfield spots. You have 3 keepers. You got 20 outfield spots. How deep do we imagine Jurgen Klinsmann going at the now? They're all going to dress because you dress all of them at the World Cup, so they're all available off the bench. But how deep is he really going to go? Well,
luckily for Jurgen Klinsmann, he has at least 3 guys on this team that he'll be taking likely that can play multiple positions, which really affords him a lot of luxury in terms of other players he wants to take. If you think of Jeff Cameron, Brad Evans, Fabian Johnson, even DeMarcus Beasley can play in 2 positions. There's a number of guys that can play 3, 4 positions on the field, really, and it really allows Jurgen Klinsmann a lot of malleability in terms of what he wants to take for players and choices.
I'm going to stay in the U.S. men's national team realm, and this is related to Julian Green, too, because now that he has declared for the United States, filed his one-time switch papers with FIFA, we are just waiting on that to come through. People are hopeful. I think this is important to remember. The one-time switch paperwork does not always go as fast as it did for Aaron Johansson. I would say right now the chances of Julian Green being eligible to play for the United States against Mexico in that game first week of April in Phoenix, 50-50. Absolutely 50-50. And we'll have to wait and see. Now, I do think that we're going to start talking about who should be in that game. It's a weird one. It's not a FIFA date. It's going to be mostly MLS-based players. He's not going to call guys from Europe when he can't because they're not available.
With Breck Shea getting bench time or getting bench, making the 18 for Stoke, is he a potential player that gets out and comes out to Phoenix? I think a week ago we're saying yes.
Well, but see, again, I don't know. If it's not a FIFA date, are they going to call those guys? It's a midweek game, right?
Yeah, it's a Wednesday.
You're gonna have Breck Shea leave England on a Sunday to fly to Phoenix and then fly him back out to England on Thursday. I don't know. Do you do that? I don't know. Now I realize he's not playing regularly, and the Barnsley thing was a disaster, but be interesting. I mean, the guys that stand to benefit most to get a chance to get back in the team for this Phoenix game, Maurice Adu comes to mind immediately, and. While I am on the record as doubting Maurice Adu in the U.S. setup, he absolutely deserves a look right now. He's playing
very well.
Great soccer for Philadelphia. So, there are going to be some other guys like that. I mean, this is a chance to get DeAndre Yedlin and Chris Klute and those kind of guys more of a look in a national team setup in a intense environment in front of a partisan Mexican crowd. Why not do it? Absolutely.
Yeah, I think it's a good opportunity for them. I think maybe this is a really good shot as well to bring a couple of those Mexico guys up. Bring up the Joe Corona, who had a very good two legs against the Galaxy. Bring in Greg Garza, who looked fabulous. Yeah, I mean, I gotta tell you, if you're looking for a left back right now, how do you not take a look? It's late. It's probably too late for Greg Garza.
I think that what people and I'm not watching enough Tijuana to know. But I think what people wonder is if Greg Garza is in the Castillo mode and perhaps a little bit too attacking minded and not enough.
He looked better defensively than I see Castillo usually, though. I think he was great on both sides of the ball. And granted, I don't watch a lot of Tijuana games either. I know I've watched a few. I watched both of the LA legs. He was one of the better players for Tijuana across both legs.
I think Greg Garza absolutely deserves a look if you can get him in for that game. And it's a short flight from San Diego
does Jose Francisco Torres get another call up? It's late. He's fallen off the radar huge.
He's had such a weird. I mean, look, it happens all the time. Guys pop up, make a team, go to the World Cup, and then sort of drift away before you expect them to. But he has such a weird sort of up and down international career. It's interesting. I know he's made some waves recently, but wasn't that Copa MX? I don't know if that you feel like it matters as much as if he was doing it in the league. So there's that. Also on the U.S. men's national team front, talking about fullbacks, Steve Cherundolo retired officially. Well, firstly, Timmy Chandler's out for the year, so just scratch that off if you had any hope of him showing up and riding in on a white.
And not just that, but Brad Evans gets injured last weekend, doesn't make the team this week for Seattle as well. I'm not sure what his prognosis is right now.
Let me ask you a question here. And wow, okay, this is not exactly. Speaking of some New Jack Swing, it's not exactly a pick your poison, but you mentioned Brad Evans getting hurt, and I do not wish injury on Brad Evans whatsoever. Do not. I like Brad Evans as a person, as a player. He has been a warrior, for lack of a better word. I hate doing that war stuff, but whatever.
And a hero.
Would you prefer that Brett Evans not be available to force Jurgen Klinsmann's hand? Or, I mean, how do I
if you're playing whom, Cameron?
I don't know. That's what I'm saying. Okay. I suppose that if Brett Evans is not available now or not available against Mexico, then we're going to see, and maybe he would go with somebody like Yedlin anyway.
I still think you got your depth wrong. Okay. So if Brad Evans, no, oh my Lord, you Brad Evans. If Brad Evans can't go, you have Cameron and you have Parkhurst. Are you really that much worse off?
Okay, no. For the full senior go to Brazil team, yeah, those are the two names that come to mind first. In fact, I watched Jeff Cameron today. He scored the last goal in Stoke's win over Villa. It was a very interesting sort of meandering goal. Whatever, we'll get to it maybe later. I think that Jeff Cameron is the guy. I really do. I mean, I don't know.
He's giving Jeff Cameron with Michael Parkhurst backing him up. That's the way I see it.
Okay, but I mean, you do have to wonder if someone like Ronaldo, and I know Portugal's going to be more than Ronaldo, and you can certainly scheme for trying to shut him down in other ways. You're not going to shut down Ronaldo completely. It's just not going to happen. But you can maybe scheme to keep Cameron from ending up on an island with Ronaldo. So there's some things that you could do. He doesn't have the speed to keep up. He just doesn't. But maybe
we don't have anyone with the speed except for maybe Yedlin. But then you're not going to. That's like throwing a lamb chop to a lion.
That's what you would think. That's what you would think. And you wonder if, all right, so do you want Cameron's experience at right back in a top league, or do you want Yedlin's speed to keep up with a guy like Ronaldo?
Okay, that's okay. This season alone, Jeff Cameron's gone up against the likes of Eden Hazard. I mean, he's gone up against Ozil. He's gone up against quality world-class wingers, okay? Cristiano Ronaldo is just another one. He's maybe the best one, but but listen, it's not like. But I hate that we act like Jeff Cameron hasn't seen quality competition.
I realize that. I realize that, but I think there are variables that you have to consider, and one of them is the way that Stoke plays, and whether or not you're willing to commit someone. I mean, can you sit back? Can you have Bradley and Jones and have Jones sit back and basically spy Ronaldo for the entire game? Can you get away with that? I just think that
they're going to look at each other's manicured faces and fall in love.
Who? Wait, what? Who?
Jeff Cameron and Cristiano Ronaldo. Those are two very well-kept faces.
Oh, okay. The faces. Also the hair. I think
there's some serious manscaping going on in and around the eye regions of both those gentlemen.
Well, Jeff Cameron also loves it. Yeah. They both like to put product in their hair. Let's say it for
yes.
They like to do that as well. Yeah, I suppose. But okay, again, I suppose my question is, and again, it's not that I wish injury on Brad Evans, but if you honestly believe that Jeff Cameron is the best option and you are afraid that Jurgen Klinsmann is going to start Brad Evans against Portugal or against Ghana, let's start with Ghana, would you rather Brad Evans be injured? I'm giving you guilty conscience. No guilty.
I do feel guilty when I'm wishing ill on the guy.
You don't have to feel guilty.
I guess I'm answering your question. Yes, yes, okay. But I also think that just because you can take Evans and still start Cameron. Evans is still an important player because he can play in middle center midfield. He can play right midfield. He can play right back. He's a position player.
He's going. That's not the issue. The issue isn't Jeff Cameron going to Brazil. The issue is whether or not we honestly believe Jurgen Klinsmann, with Jeff Cameron available, is going to start Jeff Cameron at right back over Brad Evans, which we have no reason to believe he'll do that.
I think he'll start Jeff Cameron over Brad Evans.
All right, that's fair enough. All right, let's move along here. There's your U.S. Oh, we haven't even. I mentioned Cherundolo. That's really where that was going to go. Steve Cherundolo, you have a couple of words you want to share? I mean, this is a guy, and I oddly we had some dissenting. I'm gonna call him an asshole in the Best Soccer Show feed after the news came out, saying that Cherundolo sucked or something. I don't
understand. That guy's probably 20 years old and hasn't even really seen Cherundolo play ever. I don't understand a person that says that, because Steve Cherundolo is maybe the most consistent player for ever put on a U.S. uniform outside of Claudio Reyna and Landon Donovan. I mean, outside of those two guys, he's maybe the most consistent player that the U.S. has ever produced. No other guy has done it at the highest level as long as Steve Cherundolo. He's been in the Bundesliga for 12 years something along those lines. I mean, it's amazing what he's done in terms of also breaking barriers in Germany for Americans. This is a guy who was vice captain of his team, loved in his team, appreciated in the Bundesliga. It's a huge deal that he's retiring. And if you can't respect that or find a way to appreciate that, I'm sorry, just stop listening to our show.
Yeah, and I love the fact that he's going to be the U23 assistant at Hanover. I imagine that means a couple of American kids will make their way over there. I don't think it's going to be some kind of influx or anything. And obviously, Steve Cherundolo's first concern is getting the right kids for Hanover and helping turn them into.
Speaking of, aren't you surprised? We all were thought that there's going to be this big exodus to Stuybeck when Bob Bradley went there. What, Michael Stevens, the only guy that made a plane flight? I'm really kind of surprised he didn't pick anything out from here. I don't know that they have a ton of money to go spending right now. And Americans don't make a ton of money.
No, but I still think that it's a matter. I know that generally speaking, the Scandinavian countries don't have limits on foreigners, but I imagine there's some reason he's not. And I don't think that. Imagine what position Bob's in. You come into that job as the first. He's not the first American head coach.
Okay, maybe this summer transfer window is a better position for him.
Let him establish himself a little bit first before he really figures out whether or not he's going to bring in a bunch of American guys.
All I'm saying is that Jonathan Bornstein is available somewhere.
Is he available? Do you honestly know?
I guarantee you he's available somewhere for the right price.
Where in the world is Johnny Bornstein right now? He's out there. He's in Mexico doing his thing, I guess. I don't know. That seems like danger for Bob. Danger zone. Really bring in Johnny Bornstein. All right, let's move along from U.S. national team topics.
Oh, speaking of, you don't have any John B on your playlist, do you?
He's not New Jack. He's not New Jack, dude. He's R&B.
I was thinking 90s R&B. Okay, I know you're limiting
the name of the playlist.
And Janet Jackson is. You got Janet Jackson on there.
Janet Jackson absolutely is. What are you talking about?
I don't know. I don't think of that when I think New Jack Swing.
A portion of her discography. Is that how you say that? Is definitely New Jack. All right, moving along. Let's you want to do MLS now? You want to like NYCFC badge, Jared?
Let's do NYCFC real quick because listen, I think they did a decent job. Everyone's like, listen, here's the thing: when you open up your badge creation to everyone make a badge. They put this. And here's the thing: there's legit graphic designers everywhere that really like soccer, and some of them came up with badass stuff. But are you really going to pay a guy for his design when you probably in the back of your mind always had one ready to go?
There were designs popping up because I was chronicling them for one of my websites I was editor of. There were designs popping up, unsolicited designs from professional designers to the second that team was announced. And some of them were damn good. Some of them weren't too far from what they ended up with. Say that. Some of them were damn good. And I think that, they may have
still used the Pentagon that was being used a little bit around. It makes sense. The 5 boroughs, 5 sides, it makes sense. But what I will say is it's not bad. It's definitely not in any shape before one of the worst ones in MLS. And I'll say this. In a city like New York with the licensing abilities and the amount of money that people spend on stuff, it's a very marketable logo. It would look great on a hat. It's going to look great on a shirt.
2 things. Number one, that of the choices that they presented for fans to vote on, one was this kind of weird badge, like police badge looking shape with more orange in it. There's orange in the one they picked, but more orange. And I think the NYC was in orange. And Trevor had a very good point that it did look like some weird hybrid of the Mets and the Knicks, and it was strange. It didn't really pop. Like you saw it, and your brain didn't go to whatever it was supposed to be. It went to the Mets and the Knicks, whatever. So this one is safer on that regard. My concern was that there would be too much sky blue. They got
a good amount in there. I think it's the right amount to both embrace a New York kind of look with still paying homage to the Man City ownership.
Yes, I think of the 2 designs, this is the stronger of the 2. I don't know. I'm not a designer. I don't know if they could really have gone in a quote unquote better direction. I saw some of those you mentioned, some of those designs that were out there that I thought were pretty good. I was partial to a couple. Mark Willis had a really cool one, but it was not as accessible. It was a little bit more, I don't want to say artsy. That's not really the word. But
by the way, we never caught it on this. We never talked about it on this show. Did you follow it all? I think it was Massive City FC, the 100 badges or whatever it was they were doing. I'm sorry, about 40. I can't remember what it was. But if you haven't gone out there and checked this out, this is one of the coolest things I've seen a supporters group do. And when they came up, I think it's like 40 different looks for a rebrand for Columbus over 40 days or something like that. I apologize if I'm getting the numbers wrong. It is absolutely amazing how many good ideas fans can come up with and how a corporation cannot. I mean, there's legit quality work being done out there.
Okay, fair enough. Yeah, I mean, some of those were less serious. Some of them were kind of odd. There were some really
some
good
of them
ones.
were masterpieces, though, Jason.
If you're looking for that, MassiveCityFFC.com is the website for those guys and the art, the badges that they've done. Again, some of them serious, some of them not. Working a lot of different elements of the cities, iconic icons and obviously the crew stuff. So yeah, it's interesting. Logos and badges and stuff. People get really worked up over them. I'm less concerned, but I get why it's important.
It's important.
I get why it's important. You're never going to make everybody happy. I think NYCFC came as close as they're going to making everybody happy and still get into things that they wanted to get into. All right. By the way, phone lines are open. Haven't hit that yet. 201-430-2378. If you want to get in on anything we've talked about so far, or anything we're going to talk about now, because I think it's time to turn to MLS. Let's start. I suppose we have to do this. Do you want to do a postmortem on the CCL? Can we do like a minute on this? Because I don't even know.
Yeah. We're still not good enough. How about that?
No, we're not. And we're not going to go over the reasons. You've heard them all. It's money, it's schedule, it's blah, 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 blah. It's all of that stuff. Okay? That's all.
Listen, when it comes to the LA game, which is the game you and I both picked as probably the most likely one that there was a chance to team to move on in, you can't go. It doesn't matter what time of year it is. It doesn't matter how much the salaries are. You can't crap the bed 1 minute into a game. No. You have to be better prepared than that. That is preparation. That is mental acuity. That is focus. That is everything a player's paid to do. Focus. And they didn't have it. That has nothing to do with any of the other excuses out there. Yeah,
I don't know if there's something there's something underlying MLS that leads to that stuff, because Sporting Kansas City did the same thing. In like the second minute, they gave up a goal to Cruz Azul.
And you know for a fact Peter Vermees pointed out how LA broke down in the first minute and said, don't be that same team. And they still did it.
Meanwhile, San Jose, the team that nobody thought had a chance, went to Toluca and gave it their all. And if it not for a wonder strike by the kid born in San Jose, I'm blanking on his name. Trevor, help me out there. And the Mexican International Board in San Jose, he's not an American player. And the unfortunate John Bush getting his hands on 2 balls he didn't save in penalties. And then Shea Salinas, doinking his penalty off the crossbar. Who knows? Who knows if San Jose got...
And then still, as if they didn't work hard enough and show so much passion, the Toluca coach still feels the need to step on their throats after the game.
I don't care. I don't give a flying crap if he thinks American soccer hasn't progressed because San Jose plays direct soccer. I don't care. I don't. And nobody should. Don't listen to that guy. It doesn't matter. What matters?
So let me guess. He probably thinks the English game for 30 years was terrible too, because that's how the English played for about 30 to 40 years. Direct, absolutely direct. And and San Jose has the players to do it. They're very outward about the fact that's how they're going to play.
And they were defensive because they needed to be, because they're going on the road to Mexico. And look, we know again the bottom line: MLS teams are not good enough yet. They're not, and there are things that need to happen in order for them to be good enough. And one of them
right now, MLS is the second best region in CONCACAF. Okay. Yeah, if you think about it, they're consistently number 2 in the CCL, consistently make the knockout rounds and lose to Mexico. That means you're better than Costa Rica's league. You're better than the Honduran league, Guatemalan league, all the other leagues in North America and Central America.
Yeah.
It's number 2. Okay. Yeah. So we're working towards number 1.
Remember that the way MLS operates is that parity is supposed to reign. Now, there are clubs that spend more. They're not always the best teams in the league. Let's just remember this, okay? Because I saw a tweet in the aftermath of the CCL debacle from Steve Sirk, who covers the Crew and has written a lot about the Crew over the years, been covering them since they started in MLS. He says, MLS parity is a feature, not a bug. I prefer a fun and competitive league than a handful of big money super clubs doing well in Champions League. And I'm with him on that. Now, you might want to have your cake and eat it too, but you're going to have to spend money to get there. So let's see if MLS steps up, because if they're going to give lip service to the idea of MLS winning the Concacaf Champions League, then MLS HQ and those owners in that room, when the CBA negotiations come up this fall, are going to have to put their money where their mouth is. Because a little bit of allocation money here, this kind of little extra thing there, that's not going to do it. An extra
Does
roster.
it make you almost wonder if the TV rights deal we heard months ago was so close? It was so close and so much money. Is it intentionally being held back till after the CBA is over? I really wonder that sometimes.
No, because they can't. No, they're going to have to announce it before that because this is the last year of the current deal. They're going to have to get it out there before that.
Okay.
Yeah, I can't imagine that we won't find out before that happens. And no way that the new companies involved, whether Fox, you consider Fox new, and certainly ESPN is going to be involved again. They're not going to want to sit on that until the CBA, because the CBA negotiations could drag into almost the beginning of next year.
Remember how that, but with World Cup coming up, if ESPN does have the rights, they're going to want to feature the fact that they have the rights to come when it comes to when they're doing MLS broadcasts, World Cup broadcasts.
Okay, maybe for next.
You don't think they would want to have their product in place by the time they're going to start pimping the product?
Well, they're going to be pimping this year. They have the
I know, but still, I mean, it's nice to be able to say the home of, they do that kind of stuff all the time. The home of the Mexican national team, MLS, the World Cup, and the U.S. national team.
Maybe. By the way, apparently Goonie Magic does not work in Mexico. So I don't know what that is. Is there like some...
Well, you remember how rude Mouth was to the housekeeper?
Yes.
I think it may have something to do with that. I mean, he did scare her pretty bad.
Goonies never say die.
So because Mouth was mean to was it like Consuela? I can't remember her name.
Consuela, I believe, yeah.
Okay. I'm pulling that out of the memory banks.
I think that was correct.
If that's that could be the reason.
It could be the reason. I mean, it's karma.
Could be. All right, let's talk about these MLS results. Again, phone lines are still open, or they were open. 201-430-2378. If you have anything to say about MLS this weekend, we're going to do these in chronological order because it's just the way I threw them up there. If you have nothing to say, move us on, because I don't want to spend too much on one game and miss something, Jared. New England hosted Vancouver and nobody scored a goal. Jose Gonzalez returned, which is good for New England. But I'm worried about the Revs. They haven't scored yet. 3 games, 0 goals.
And Diego Fagundes has had a number of very good opportunities. He just can't seem to be. The question is he this close to breaking out, or is he this much kind of snake bit? It could one of two things how you want to play this out. 2 more games, he's snake bit. Right now, you can still kind of spin it in a positive way. He's getting into dangerous positions. I'm not going to worry unless he's not getting into those spots. So, I suppose that's where it is. But remember, Jack McInerney on fire, goes to the Gold Cup, doesn't play, comes back to the Union, and is basically shut out for the rest of the year. I think he scored on the last day of the season. So I will say good news for the Revs in that they, for some reason, Kellen Rowe back on the field. Great to see Kellen Rowe back on the field. Gonçalves back on the field. They've got the team you remember back on the field finally. It's taken 3 games to make it happen. Now the question is, how much damage have they done with all the off-the-field stuff before now? Yeah. Hopefully they can turn it around, because that's a team I still want to watch.
Yeah. RSL won, LA won. This was LA trying to get the CCL taste out of their mouth. They had to go to Utah, play RSL for the second time in the season, and the only 2 games they played. Meanwhile, RSL has had LA's number a little bit. It ends in a 1-1 tie. Very scrappy. These 2 teams know each other too well for it to kind of become... and even the clash of styles, so to speak, doesn't really work out where you're going to get good soccer. It's just...
And there's a big change was made in this game, too. Bruce Arena benches Marcelo Sarvas and plays Landon at the top of a diamond with Juninho behind. That's a really kind of interesting change, but I don't think it really changed into anything different stylistically for the Galaxy. I think they threw a lot of new kind of players. Ishizaki gets a start. Rob Friend gets a start. Landon Donovan moves into the center. It's really kind of different. A lot of moves there. James Riley. Dan Gargan ends up getting time because there's so many injuries in the defense for LA. LA threw a lot of stuff against the wall. You're not going to learn too much about this game because of how many changes they made coming out of the CCL.
Right. And the one thing that has to be troubling as a Galaxy fan, as you said, not going to learn a lot. Maybe it doesn't mean anything, but their defending, man, is not instilling a lot of confidence. And when you leave one of the best goal scorers in the league wide open at the back post like that with Alvaro Severio, I don't understand what happened there. And it was easy. It was 1-2 goal. And I'm not
sure how that happens. I tried watching it back. I still couldn't quite figure out whose mark it was supposed to be. But listen, in my opinion, if Jaime Pinedo's on the field, he's supposed to be making sure everyone has a mark. You have a backup keeper in that situation, Brian Perk. I'm sorry to put it at his feet, but you're the guy looking forward on that play. You need to make sure everyone has a mark. And for some reason, the biggest body, well, maybe not the biggest body, the biggest threat on the play is completely unmarked. I think the keeper has to shout that out.
Yeah, Robbie Keane gets on the goal sheet, which is good for LA. They need him to get going. Absolutely a nice goal there. So 1-1 with two of the Western Conference powers. TFC 1, DC United 0. TFC gets another goal from Jermaine Defoe. He scored all their goals. Well, it's only 3, and it's only 2 games, but he scored all their goals, and they were excited. The fields, by the way, fields on the East Coast, coming out of the winter, disasters, all of them.
That Toronto one is rough.
It was bad. But TFC gets the win. Obviously, a lot of enthusiasm up in Toronto. Did you
see the picture that I think it was Catho Kelly put out of Michael Bradley's stapled head?
No, I did not.
It's gnarly, dude. It's gnarly. You got to check that out. I mean, I'm saying there's probably at least 8 staples there.
Yeah. Well, that's crazy.
It's pretty rough, dude. But listen, by the way, and he's not going to get an assist because Gilberto didn't finish. But on the Defoe goal, that ball that Bradley put in there, amazing.
That is beautiful stuff. And look, he can go from sort of being a holding mid, not asked to do that stuff as much in Italy, walk into this league and immediately be one of the best. I'm not going to say he's going to create goals week in and week out or have that pass week in and week out, but the man knows how to wait a pass.
When I think deep line playmaker, that's the ball I'm looking for.
Yes, absolutely. We've seen, look, there are guys in this league who can make that pass. I think Dylan Powers is on that list, not as deep maybe, but there are guys who can make that pass that we've seen.
Beckman, you saw in playoffs last year, can make that pass.
Yeah, there's a lot of guys who make, but to see Michael Bradley do it right off the bat for TFC is good. The other side of that, by the way, in DC United, 2 weeks, no goals. They get thumped by Columbus. They lose to TFC in Toronto. Okay, maybe, but the worrying thing for DC United is
Eddie, what have you done for me lately?
What has he done for you lately?
The man got paid, and I'm glad that he got paid because in some way he deserved it. But he's not seeing the ball. It's not even his fault necessarily. He's not seeing the ball. So DC United has to figure out how to get their $750,000 man a little bit of the ball so he can score them some goals. Because otherwise, he's a waste. And he might be in trouble.
Now you got me thinking when you say he just got paid, and I'm thinking of the New Jack attack. Like, what's the song? Just got paid. It's Friday night. What song is that?
That's it just got paid.
Is that David just got paid?
Just got paid. I can't remember who sings it right now, but just got paid.
That may be Eddie Johnson's new song.
You know what? I bet you he queued that up. He's maybe not old enough. Maybe
he's probably just a little shy of knowing anything New Jack.
All right, Columbus 2, Philadelphia 1. Both goals from Bernardo Arnaud, excuse me. Very nice goals from Arnaud and Philadelphia.
If you're going to come back from an ACL, I mean, that's how you want to come back. That is a tremendous 35-yard strike that he put out there.
You know, and I think that Columbus is obviously built to get goals from Arrieta, to have Higuain in the mix, to get Damaduro off.
One more threat makes them so hard to defend. If he can be a consistent threat, Columbus is going to have to make some serious waves this year.
The other thing that happened in that game was Jared was confused. I think there is a lot of confusion.
Confused?
Okay, well, Deadspin put up a post that there was a porn soundtrack on the
I agree with them.
No, it was kids in the stadium near the microphone having fun or whatever. Maybe it was a couple. Maybe it was... I
tell you, there was a couple, all right, and they were having fun.
Nobody was actually doing it. By the way, yeah, anyway, do it. Another good song. Nobody was actually doing it, okay? I'm pretty sure.
When kids play around and it sounds like...
Hey, wait, whoa, this is a family show, dude. Stop.
What, a guy can't moan?
No, guy can't. No. Guys moaning is not cool.
You tell me you never moan?
Yeah, but it's not cool when I do it. No. Okay, but see, here's the thing. Whatever. It's never sexy. A man moaning is never sexy.
In the Jason Davis bedroom, no one can hear anything over the New Jack R&B being played in the background.
I'm not saying that I don't do it. I'm saying it's never sexy.
Okay. I'll go with that. Okay, you're probably right on that point.
But anyway, it doesn't matter. Columbus gets the win 2-1 over Philadelphia. Good start for the Crew. Colorado
good start for Latu. I mean, he's having a good start of the season so far. The question is, who are going to be the guys that are going to follow him along? Jack Mack's got to get hot.
Jack Mack needs to get hot. He's got one, right? He's got one.
He's got one. But maybe we got too much expectations for the kid coming off of the hot start last year. But
no, I don't.
The kid you want to see get hot.
I don't have expectations for him because he ended so badly last year. But you wonder if they're going to have enough firepower because their midfield is stacked. But do they have enough up front? It's the same way kind of the Revs are dealing with this right now. But Philadelphia have been a little bit more effective with it. Connor Casey's not going to give you 30 games. He's just not. So what are you going to do? Where are you going to get those goals? Colorado 2, Portland 0, 2 penalties.
Surprise.
Both of them on ball. I mentioned Dylan Powers. This is partly why. Both of them on balls from Dylan Powers. Now, I don't think the first one was perfect, but it was in the right spot. It made Donovan Ricketts come off his line. He made a friggin' meal out of that. That was terrible goalkeeping, which injured him. He injured himself.
I told you a while back, everyone wants to say how good Donovan Ricketts is, and this is the guy telling you he's not as good as you think he is. He's been on good teams. I don't think Donovan Ricketts is one of the best keepers in this league.
I think what most people believe that are on your side of the argument is that Donovan Ricketts is the Derek Jeter of goalkeepers. He makes the routine look spectacular, and because it looks spectacular, people think he's better than he
I don't know that Donovan Ricketts can pull off the type of woman that Derek Jeter pulls off.
No, I don't think so. But I just killed two birds with one stone there because not only did I explain Donovan Ricketts, but I got
to insult the Yankees for Trevor.
Absolutely. But more than that, and I'll admit that I didn't get to watch much of this game. Where are Portland's goals? Where's goal? Where are their goals?
It's not happening. It's not happening. They got one from Fernandez last week. I mean, they're getting the odd goal here or there, but the offensive juggernaut, the free-flowing offense, the speed, the dynamism that we associate with Portland last year, we're not seeing it right now. And I don't know what the change was. All I know is that their strikers up top. They've gone Latin. They've gone for Argentines, and also they've gone away from. Who's the Jamaican striker they had last year?
Ryan Johnson.
Ryan Johnson was nothing to popular or anything like that, but he worked hard. I don't know if I'm seeing the same work rate out of the forwards at Portland.
Quick quiz: where is Ryan Johnson playing right now? Where did he stop?
No idea.
No idea. Take a guess. You'll be wrong, but take a guess.
Colorado.
He is playing in China.
No way.
Yeah, he's playing in China. But yeah, look, Rodney Wallace missing is a thing, and Sakawani's not there yet, and that's a thing too. He's not quite what they want him to be, and he may never be back to what Steve Sakawani was going to be before he got injured. But they've got to find a way to make it work. They're working their way into the season. 404, you're on the air.
Hey, what's going on, guys? Daniel calling from Atlanta.
What's up?
I just got a couple of things I want to ask. Jared, do you know about the Pinedo situation? Why was he in Panama?
Why was he in Panama?
I heard it was a visa situation.
Yeah, I heard it was a visa situation as well.
Oh, okay. And,
I don't know the reasons behind it. I just know that there was.
He had a temporary visa, or he had a visa that was running out, and probably didn't get it sorted in time, and had to go back to Panama before they could get it sorted out.
It's not like he only had 3 months of an off season to do it.
Yeah, and I don't know why that does occasionally. I don't think it's a big deal. They'll get him back.
Okay, and I don't know. Do you guys ever watching games on Unimas? And how and if you guys do, what do you guys do to understand what they're saying?
I watch on Unimas.
I watch games on Unimas, and I don't.
You know what you can do to understand? Rosetta Stone.
It's soccer. I don't care what they're saying.
Yeah, me either. Honestly, and I watched all the CCL games. I don't get Fox Sports West 2 or whatever it's called that those games were on. I watched every one of them in Spanish. Probably enjoyed it more.
Dude, I may pick up a word here or there, but really it's kind of immaterial. I don't need
it.
Now, while I enjoy a good broadcaster, and I mentioned this on Twitter when the CCL games were happening, Sporting and Cruz Azul, I think Janusz Michalek was calling that game. And he's excellent. I was glad to hear him on MLS or doing a game for an MLS team. I don't need it, and it actually came up today. I'm watching El Clasico, and I'm seeing the Twitter comments. People are going off about, look, I like Phil Shane. Ray Hudson is an acquired taste. Whatever. I don't care. I can turn it down or I'm not mute it because I want some crowd noise, but I can turn it down.
I'm not going to act like I'm a bad announcer, can't ruin my viewing experience, but I can always have the option of hitting mute if I want. And he's just saying, if I go to the symphony, I don't care who the conductor is and how he's choosing to gesticulate. I'm there to listen to the music.
Right. Yeah. Well, I think it's a little different, but yeah, I agree with you. I think the soccer trumps all. I watched New York and Chicago today in Spanish, on Espanol, and half of it I didn't know.
All I care is that it's on TV.
90%. Yeah, that's all I care about. Anything else, man?
And just one last point. Jared, I think that who do you think would be a better replacement for Leonardo? Because I don't think he's getting the job done in LA.
In my opinion, it's always should have been. Well, I'm a big fan of AJ De La Garza as a counterpoint to Omar Gonzalez. I think they complement each other very well. I still think AJ De La Garza is one of the best positional defenders in the whole league. But with AJ De La Garza, with giving out Sean Franklin, you kind of need to push AJ De La Garza wide right. I think the best Opare, the Kofi Opare, who they played down the stretch last year, I think showed really well as a center back in this league. I think he was up to the task all the time. Well, so I'd like to see him get more of a run.
Look, the AJ De La Garza Omar Gonzalez pairing was the best LA's had in a very long time. It took them to a cup. Everything else. Why did Bruce Arena not solidify his
Bruce Arena has always had a bulge in his pants for Leonardo. He likes that dual. For some reason, Leonardo, every time I made the analogy the other day that they're like two people that everyone else knows shouldn't be together, yet they are so in love that they think they can make it work. So Leonardo is Bruce Arena's Jonathan. It's like Sid and Nancy.
Okay. I appreciate anything else, man? Appreciate the call.
Nah, man, that's great. Love the show, and you guys take it easy.
No, I appreciate that.
Yeah,
cool.
Let's check that Galaxy fan in Atlanta.
Yeah, just a couple of questions. All right, we're going to run down the rest of these games. I'll make sure we get through them before we run out of time. Sporting Kansas City 1-0 over San Jose, a penalty that Dom Dwyer put away. I don't know what Steven Linhart was doing. It was like he's trying to dribble a basketball in the box.
He came in there pretty fast. I don't know. Plus, Steven Linhart's the kind of guy who probably thinks he can get away with that kind of stuff.
You could kind of see him. Now, it's not at this angle, but you could kind of see him he turns. It's a scramble. I get it. He turns around. The ball's kind of there, and he kind of paws at it. It's kind of like a cat when he has a ball of yarn nearby it. Yeah, it was very much like that. It was interesting. And Michael Parra had the miss of the year so far. Oh, my. Now,
I'm not going to act like I'm almost positive. I've missed that same opportunity in a rec league before, but I'm not getting paid to do it. You can't miss that.
You can see Aurelian Cole go "Oh my!"
But tell me this: isn't that the most Iko Parra thing that could have happened in that moment? Isn't he still kind of that guy in your mind?
Yeah, he is. And
I know he's done great stuff since he's left San Jose and went to Kansas City. He has been a really good player for them. Yeah. In my mind, he's always still kind of that kind of guy.
Here's the nice thing for Iko Parra. It will never be the worst miss in Kansas City professional soccer history because
Kai Kamara owns it.
Kai Kamara owns that forever and ever and ever.
Because somehow he slid over the ball.
Yeah, this was two teams coming off of their Champions League disappointment. Obviously, Sporting having gotten housed and San Jose having laid it all on the line with the injuries and everything else. So a tough go for San Jose to lose that, but there you go. Sporting gets their first home win. FC Dallas and Chivas. And the one thing I'll say about FC Dallas is as long as teams don't kick them, which they're going to do because that's the way you slow them down, FC Dallas is going to be fun.
So what you're saying is that Dallas has no chance against San Jose?
No, or Sporting probably, and they've lost Sporting already.
I kind of agree with that. I kind of agree with that, and I think you and I talked about it. I think the first game of the season, I was talking to you about the fact that this is a team that wants to play on the ground. They want to play pretty, and if you'll let them, they want to play fast. Castillo's a big part of that. Baby Castillo is a big part of that. He wants to play very fast. The teams that want to slow the game down and make it dirty and make it nasty, which you would think in the past, Chivas is one of those teams. Chivas this year is trying to play a better brand of soccer as well. And they weren't up to the task today.
Yeah, give Chivas credit for not mucking it up to try to slow down FC Dallas. I mean, Castillo is, I'm not going to say he's a revelation because we knew he's been in the league a couple years. This may be his sort of breakout campaign. We'll see. I mean, I'm not going to put that on him yet based on a couple of games. But what I've seen so far is you better keep your eye on Fabian Castillo because he's going to be a lot of fun this year. He's one of the few guys in this league where this league has had fast players before. It's had some incredibly fast players before. But when Damaduro has the ball and is going at somebody full speed, do you actually sense he's going to make something happen? Or do you sense he's going to lose the ball over the end line?
It's going to go over the end line or it's going to get caught up in his spokes or the defender's spokes. It's very similar to Giassi Zardes.
okay, when Fabian Castillo has the ball and he's going at it,
He can change direction so fast.
I was like, something is going to happen, and sure enough, he can make things happen. So watch FC Dallas as well. Pareja's made.
Can I make a bold, if not it's stupid prediction on my part?
Yes.
Eric Torres, top 5 goal scorer in MLS this year.
You know what? He's got 2 now?
I just think he's on a better team. The team looks better. He's going to get more opportunities, and he's looking like he's maturing into that role.
I almost tweeted something like Eric Torres for Golden Boot, but the reason I didn't is because I'm still unclear on whether or not he's going back to Guadalajara in June or not.
And it's hard to say anything about Chivas long term.
Yes, it is. You don't want to get burned.
But he's in kind of a good thing right now. They're playing better. McNamara's a good counterpoint to him up there. He's getting good support from midfield, and he is finishing well.
I know the hair is the story with Thomas McNamara, but he's already played like 2 or 3 different positions for Chivas this year and been very good in all of them. So keep an eye on Thomas McNamara. Well, he may end up being a rookie of the year for smart people rather than say the leading goal scorer rookie or something like that.
Like the Dylan Powers choice last year.
Yeah,
that was a smarter choice. Deshaun Brown was the easy choice.
Yeah. Chicago won, New York won, 2 redheads scoring in Bridgeview. First one by Lorenzo. What did you say?
Nothing good can come from that.
I think McCarty.
I was expecting Gozer to come out of the Empire State Building or something.
New York. Okay. I mean, I don't want to say underwhelm. It's early in the year. I don't want to get ahead of myself. I mean, I'm saying watch FC Dallas because I think they'll be fun to watch. Not necessarily they're going to go win anything. New York's not really making it happen yet. And as much credit as Petke has built up, and he won a supporter shield, I'm still not convinced, and I still felt all the way down the stretch last year they could collapse at any moment. I'm starting to feel that way already in 2014. Not that they're going to collapse, but that they're going to underwhelm.
I still feel that New York's biggest problems, the problems they have for 2 years, and they tried to address last year and somehow got past it, is they don't have the creative player in the center of the park. Thierry Henry does it, but he has to come off the forward line to do it. You want Thierry Henry closer to the goal. When he has to come back and play that 10 role, I don't know that Cahill can be that guy up front consistently. And Cahill, by Petke's own definition, Cahill's not that guy. Cahill's not supposed to be that guy that's up there. He's supposed to be in the midfield too. So if Thierry Henry's in the midfield and Tim Cahill's in the midfield, who's your dang guy putting the ball in the net?
Yeah, they're trying. He's trying. Lyandula is an option. He started.
That guy tried to score with his crotch this weekend.
Eric Alexander is not. I think he's good in certain attacking situations. He's not good with the pass. I mean, he's not creative enough with the pass. He can be,
by the way,
tricky on the ball, but that's not what you necessarily need.
Credit to MLS for putting a ball highlight. I mean, they actually have a highlight of Luyandula getting kicked in, like getting hit in the crotch. That is, whoever's running MLS Digital is my type of person. When they put up a highlight, they take the time to clip a video just to see a guy get hit in the balls. That's great.
All right, we're running rapidly out of time. Last thing I'll say, last game on the docket was Montreal and Seattle. Seattle gets a 2-0 win. Own goal off of Troy Perkins. Give Nagel credit for creating that. And then Obafemi Martins with a second. No Clint Dempsey, suspended for 2 games for his own ball shot, Jared. First of all, right call to suspend him for 2 games. Yes or no? Second of all, anything to say about Jurgen Klinsmann kind of, I don't know, getting all weird about it? I'm not familiar with the quote you're talking about. Okay. Basically, and I'll paraphrase because we don't have time here, Klinsmann said he gets hacked all the time, he gets fouled all the time, he's frustrated, I don't understand the 2-game suspension. Which to me sounds like a parent giving their kid license to be a jerk. Is
Luis Suarez allowed to bite a dude's ear because he gets fouled a lot?
I don't know. I don't know where the line is. It was just very, look.
I'm sorry, he's getting paid very well to be above it all. He chose to have a target on his back by taking that paycheck. You know those 2 things come together. You got to be better than that. I'm sorry. I totally disagree with Klinsmann in regard to that.
Now,
but I think this team was better without Dempsey. I'll say that.
Interesting. Well, they're not going to drop him. It's impossible.
I think they have to find a way to get Kenny Cooper on the field. An assist today. I think this team is better with Kenny Cooper than Obafemi Martins next up there with Dempsey, in my opinion.
Well, but Obafemi Martins is a finisher that they don't have otherwise. I don't know that you can keep him off the field either.
Well, here's my thing. I think you can keep them both in the field, but you have to move Dempsey back more into midfield. I think you put Cooper and Obafemi Martins up top, Lenagel on one side, and you find a spot for Clint Dempsey in the midfield. That's just my opinion on it.
We got to go, but this is quickly becoming like the summer of Clint Dempsey, and I don't necessarily mean that in a good way. I mean, he's going to start dominating all the talk heading into Brazil because are we getting? I read something at Grantland by Noah Davis today. We're going to get real Clint Dempsey, or is he past it? What's up with Clint? I'm not looking forward to it. That's all I'll say.
He is the new Landon Donovan for the World Cup. Follow
us on Twitter, Best Soccer Show. Go to iTunes, give us a rating and a review. Follow Jared J. Rodius. What else? Anything else?
One week to Game of Thrones.
Oh, awesome. We'll be talking about that then next Wednesday. Whatever. See you guys. Bye.
Skin that smoke wagon and see what happens.
Get to the chopper!
I would even cut dead in the sweater vest.
Danger zone!
America.
Oh, it's incredible!
60% of the time, it works every time.